What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? And thank you for tuning into The Stoke is Real. Today, we're going to talk about something, and I hit on it a lot. And it's the importance of having mentors. I talk about goal setting, talk about all those things. Well, once you have a goal in living life, you have goals. Maybe you want to do better at your job. Maybe you want to be a better husband or wife, whatever that goal is. You have to have a mentor. And you can say, well, I do my own thing. If you want to be successful, when you set out to have a goal, you need to find a mentor, somebody who's done it to the magnitude that you want. But it goes deeper than that. It goes way deeper than that. Throughout my life, obviously, there's been different people who've inspired me in different ways. Early on, it's usually your mom or your dad. They're inspiring you. You're picking up things that you like from them. Sometimes we pick up things that maybe later in life we realize we don't like, so we change those. But early on, it's our parents, it's our immediate family. Those are the people we're looking up to. For me, my dad taught me to always be on time. He was very athletic throughout his life. So I was very athletic, and I know that if you show up on time, you're late. You should be 10 minutes early all the time. Those are two very important things that have played a huge role in my life. And as I kept going, my first crazy job was in industrial dry cleaners, and there was two gentlemen, Bill and Stoney. They were my two bosses. Stoney taught me so much, and I'm going to have to send this video to him because he probably doesn't even realize what he taught me. And I used to have to clean, and he would have white gloves, and he would almost, or a white rag, and he'd find dust, and I'd have to go in the other room while he was checking. He'd find white dust, he'd make me wipe down the whole machine again if he found any of it. I had to climb inside the machines and clean out toxic waste, and it had to be spotless. Billy taught me how to wrench on my car. We both owned Ford Rangers, and he taught me how to change starters, do the oil, those kinds of things. I still use those skills today. Bill and Stoney, priceless. And then as I continued moving on in my life, there was people in the digital print world because I ended up getting into that. And there was people I looked up to there. Rob Barbu, my boss, he taught me a ton about life. And later on, I got to help him with his. And then Mike Sorge, the team manager at Ninja Bearings, taught me so much. And I got some more out of him. Mike Garrison, I was sanding floors with him. That was my dad's business. He taught me a ton. And so throughout my life, there was these different people, these different male role models. And there were some female role models in there that taught me so much. And in skateboarding, I was drawing pictures of a guy named Bill Danforth. And if you don't know who that is, you can look it up. He's got a board in the Smithsonian. He was in every skateboard magazine in the world from like 1986 on. Well, later in life, him and I became friends, and I got to travel thousands of miles with him. And to this day, he is still a positive role model in my life. We talk, probably not as much as we should, but we're trading texts, making each other laugh, and talking about life things now. But you have to find a mentor. When I started speaking on stages, I'm like, who is the most enigmatic speaker? Who do I want to sort of emulate? Because you don't take on their persona. You don't become that person. You use some of the positive things that they have used, and you streamline that point from A to B, from where you are to where you want to be. If you're a motivational speaker, I spoke on stages all across the country, but Tony Robbins is number one. What is he doing that works? Let me check it out. I don't want to be Tony Robbins. I'll never be 6'6" or whatever he is with big teeth. Just joking. I know he says it about himself, so it isn't a diss. But I don't want to be him, but what is he doing that works and can help me to get to my goal quicker? That's what I did. I started writing books. I had read hundreds of books up to that point. I knew what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. If you pick up DIFY, do it for yourself, a simple guide to living the life you deserve. I wanted to write a book that was straight to the point with no fluff so that you could pick it up. It was written for somebody like me. Pick it up. Each chapter is 15 to 20 minutes. You get what you want to get out of it, and you move on. A lot of books have fluff. They're 250 pages. It could have been said in 100. I wanted to say it in as few words as I could, the point I wanted to get across. I knew the book would be done when it was done, not when I reached a page count. But I had learned from reading other books what I didn't want and what I did want. And that's what we do with mentors. The whole Frankenstein thing. Frankenstein was stitched together from a bunch of different people. That's ultimately what we end up becoming. We end up getting a little bit from here, getting a little bit from there. Maybe we saw somebody cooking who did a cool recipe. We want to emulate that. Somebody did something in their house. You saw something on HGTV and you get into remodeling your house. You see somebody who's in a certain physical condition and you're like, I know I can do that. But what does all this boil down to? There is no magic pill, man. There is no magic pill. You got to get off the couch and do it. You have to do it for yourself, DIFY. But mentors, people to look up to, they're very important. Very important, especially if you're setting lofty goals. Nothing is out of the realm of possibility. And that's how I have operated my whole life. When I was stopping hockey pucks, my mentors changed. Early on, because I was a Red Wing fan, it was a guy named Greg Steffen. Then as I started developing my own goaltending personality, if you will, it was Ron Hextall. And if you're a hockey fan and you know who Ron Hextall is, dude was gnarly. And that's who I was watching. That's who I was like, I'm going to pick up some of his traits because I think they could help my game. You find it. Whatever it is. In skateboarding, I've mentioned Bill Danforth, but it was Wade Spire, John Cardiel, Jason Jesse, Lance Mountain, the guys in the 80s that were killing it into the 90s. And I got to meet a bunch of those guys. And what's awesome is so many of those guys are even better people than they are skateboarders. And that rules. It shows in their skateboarding. But I found these people, and I didn't want to become John Cardiel, even though that'd probably be pretty cool. But I'm like, that's cool. I want to be able to skate like that. And you develop your own style by these little patches, these little things that you bring on to yourself, and you bring on some of those habits, some of those mannerisms, but you do it your way. But these people have achieved a success that maybe you're striving for. You don't have to reinvent the damn wheel, man. They found something. You pick up a little bit of that, and then you do it your way, how you want to do it. You develop your own style. But mentors are important. And it could come through a book. It could come through a YouTube video. It could come from a chance meeting. And you're like, that's pretty cool. I'd like to do that. And we ultimately become the doctor and the monster of our story. And I call Frankenstein the monster, but we're getting into these things. We're meeting people. We're reading books. We're doing this, whatever it is that's inspiring us, that's influencing us to take on a little of this, take on a little of that. And we ultimately become our own Frankenstein monster because it's little bits and pieces of everything. And why not find the best? Instead of finding the worst, find the best and try to emulate that. With that, I want to say thank you guys very much. Hopefully, maybe this show is one of the places you look to for mentorship. I'm not trying to be a guru or a mentor or anything like that, but I'm sharing things that I have got to experience in my life. And I hate the word got, and I just said it. I'm sharing my experiences with you, and maybe it will help. But find a mentor. Find that person you look up to. If it's your grandpa, my grandpa Elmer, incredible. Find that person. And your path from idea to success will be shortened when you find the people who have done it before. Because they know something. Pick that up and then do it your way. Find a mentor. Message me. If you're having trouble with that, comment below. Tell me about some of your mentors. Was it your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, your dad, some famous person, some author? whatever it was. Like I know my buddy's daughter, she's into gymnastics, and she got to go last year and meet one of the most famous gymnasts on the planet at the time. And unfortunately, I can't recall her name, but she got to go spend a little time with her. That inspired her. She got back in the gym, and all of a sudden the balance beam is a little different because she's starting to now, even at a young age, is starting to visualize, I'm going to be like that. Find that. Find that in your life, whatever that is. Make sure to comment below, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and let's continue to make positivity go viral, help each other grow, and always remember, the Stoke is real. Come on!